Okay, good morning, everyone. We will begin with identifying what we began with last week. Anatomy. Anatomy means structure. Anatomy means structure. And physiology. Physiology means function. And we mentioned that the structure and the function are always interdependent. They are based on each other. The physiology is dependent on the anatomy, and the anatomy is dependent on the physiology. So when we examine the triangle of life, you're responsible of knowing how is this triangle of life set up. We have a base, we have a base at the bottom, and we have an apex at the top. That's the pinnacle. Apex, that is the pinnacle. Pinnacle. How do you spell pinnacle? Pinnacle. That is the pinnacle, the top. Yeah, the pinnacle is the top, and the base is the bottom. And there are different levels between the base and the pinnacle, between the base and the apex. And we mentioned that what is the base of the hierarchy of life triangle? What is always at the bottom? What is the most basic unit of life? No, it's not atoms. The cell. The cell is the smallest living unit. The atom is part of the living unit. So, for example, the apartment, your apartment would be the cell. That's the smallest living unit. But that doesn't mean the apartment can exist on its own. The apartment is also gonna need kitchen. There's always you're gonna need AC. You're gonna need heater. You're gonna need a stove. You need all these supplies. So the smallest unit is the cell. Many cells come together to give you tissues. We need to do this faster. Many tissues come together to give you organs, and multiple organs come together to give us organ systems, organ systems, and multiple organ systems come together to give us organelles, and multiple organelles come together to give, oops, not organelles. What is happening? What are you guys are confusing me now? No, it is not organelles. Tissues, organs, organ systems. Then we have organism, and many organisms. The pinnacle or the apex is always the population. So life begins from the cell and upward, the cell and moving up. And we said that back in the day, they thought that life begins from the organs and above. This is, I used to call this naked eye anatomy, naked eye anatomy, and physiology. Meaning that this is the anatomy and the physiology you see with your eyes. You see the long breathing. You see the liver. You see the intestine. You see the esophagus. You see multiple different organs. And we said that, what is the other name for naked anatomy and physiology? Yeah, excellent. That is known as gross. That is known as gross anatomy and physiology. Gross, meaning that it's so big and wide, we can see it with our own naked eye. No need for a microscope. That is gross anatomy and physiology. Then they found out that this gross anatomy and physiology is only the tip of the iceberg. The gross anatomy and physiology is only the tip of the iceberg. Right below the anatomy and physiology of gross anatomy and physiology, there's the level of the tissues. And this level of the tissues, we're going to need a compound microscope, a light microscope, a compound microscope, a light microscope. And you see that the compound light microscope is going to enable us to study the tissue. What is the study of the tissue known as? It's an ology. 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 What is that? Histology. Excellent. So that is histology. Then they realized that the compound and the light microscopes are not even the end of the story. That is not even the end of the story. Compound light microscope, the histology, and the is not even the end of the story. They realize now we can even look at the cell at a much better magnification and resolution. We can look at the cell with a much better magnification and resolution, and we realize that this is known thanks to the electron. The electron microscope. The electron microscope. That is all based on the electron microscope. Now, the study of the cell is known as an ology. What ology is that? Excellent. That is cytology. Cytology. Then they realized now it ends here. It really ends here. But then they said, let's make things more clear by defining the smaller substituents of the triangle. So the cell itself is made up of organelles. Organelles. The cell is made up of organelles. Organelles. These organelles are what makes the smallest unit alive. For example, if your apartment is a cell, then the kitchen is where the food is at. So your apartment needs a place where we eat. The bathroom, we secrete, then remove the waste in the bathroom and remove all the bad things. The living room to sleep and the rest and to do the other things. And the living room, recreation and hanging out and with your family and watching the television and the brainwashing. Brainwashing happens in the television. They tell you, well, how are you supposed to think? This is right, this is wrong. It's the opposite, the other way around. The other way around. What they tell you this is right is not, is the other one. When they tell you that's wrong, it's actually right. But anyways, the living room. So everything you need, that's part of the smallest unit of life. That's your. So for example, if now the school is a cell, the school is a cell. What would be the organelles? Yeah. Excellent. So the learning halls, because you have a laboratory in there, you learn laboratory experiments, techniques. There's also the auditoriums and the classrooms to learn the lecture. Excellent. What else would be a perfect, good example? Very good. You are Sheree. Very good, Sheree. Who else can give us an example of organelle? Lamin, what's another organelle? So the school only has learning halls to just come here. You only come here to learn and go home. So where else you go? Hold on, Lamin. The football field, that is for recreation and entertainment and very good. Athleticism, that's part of the school too. Yes, please. So the classroom is part of, she said, the hall's learning. So now that's where all the learning happens. The classroom, the auditorium, the laboratories. So that's where the learning happens. He mentioned where the recreation and like having changing your mood. What else would be? Yo, Alex. Library. So you learn and then you go study. The learning hall is where you get taught or where you do assignments. Library, you're free to go do your own work. You want to type a paper, you want to sit down, read a book. So the library is a separate part of the school. What else? The cafeteria. You don't count the cafeteria. You don't eat. You don't eat in the cafeteria. Yeah. So that's an important part. So the cell like that. The cell has an organelle for energy, the mitochondria. The cell has an organelle for energy. That's the mitochondria. It has the mitochondria. Don't worry about the spelling for now. The mitochondria. What about the public safety? Police, to make sure that everything's safe. There's no criminal activity. Last semester, one student here was being very bad, very disruptive, very toxic, very violent. I called the public safety. She was good till the end. She was good till the end of the semester. They just removed them, that's it? Tase him? Of course. Knife. Are we living in the jungle? Oh my God. We are. Actually, we are. The jungle is actually sometimes better. The jungle, they don't smoke. The animals don't smoke. Did you see one tiger kill another tiger? Did you see one lion kill another lion? But the human kill another human. Very bad human. Okay, the organelles. We have organelles, and the organelles are made up of, now we are getting closer and closer. The organelles have macro molecules. So the macro, from the name, macro. You heard about microeconomics, macroeconomics. Microeconomics, macroeconomics. So we have macro molecules, and then the macromolecules are made up even of micromolecules, micromolecules, micromolecules. We have macromolecules, micromolecules, macromolecules, and micromolecules. And lastly, we have our elements and atoms. Our element, and atoms. Elements and atoms. There are elements and atoms and that's the end. You cannot break down the element and the atom into anything that is useful. That's the smallest, most useful. Actually, the elements and the atoms are made up of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Electrons, protons, neutrons. Electrons, protons, and neutrons. Electron, proton, and neutrons. You see, electrons, protons, and neutrons, they come together to give me elements and atoms. Atoms give me micromolecules. Micromolecules give me macromolecules. Macromolecules give me organelles. And the organelles give me the cell. Many cells give me tissues. Many tissues give me organs. Many organs give me organ systems. Many organ systems give me organisms. Many organisms give me the population. Is that clear? That's very, very, very important. Okay, so now let's begin all the way at the bottom. Let's begin from the elements, electrons, protons, and neutrons. You have to understand that elements on the periodic table, you took chemistry. You see, oh, very nice. You see there? You see, right when you need it. The periodic table. You see the periodic table on the wall? This periodic table, it has multiple different types of elements. Those are all elements. Hydrogen is an element. Boron is an element. Carbon is an element. Beryllium over there is an element. Magnesium is an element. Sodium is an element. Carbon is an element. Nitrogen, oxygen, fluoride. They are all distinct and different elements. Each element, you have so imagine those are people. In the country, everybody got the same passport. Do you share a passport? Do you share the same fingerprint? Do you ever share the same social security number? What if your best friend, your wife, your husband, your mom, you never ever get to share the same thing them. They never share the atomic number. So the atomic number is the number here on the top. 2. Nobody's 2 except helium. Nobody's 8 except oxygen. Nobody's 7 except nitrogen. Nobody is 6 except carbon. It's like your address. Can you have 2 addresses? If you have 2 homes, that's a different thing. But I'm saying everybody gets 1. So the atomic number is what defines the atomic number. The atomic number, the atomic number is what defines the element. So if you say 8, that's oxygen. Nobody else will be 8 ever except oxygen. Are we clear? Okay, now let's move on. The atomic number is the number of protons. Number of protons. The number of protons is the atomic number. So when you look here and I tell you, guys, what is the atomic number for oxygen? What is it? 8. Then I ask you another question. What is the proton number for oxygen? 8. Same thing. Tomato, tomato. One student, you tell them proton number, then you ask them another question. Atomic number, they're confused. And it's the same thing. Another thing, proton number is what defines your atomic number. There is another thing you have to know now. The element has a nucleus. The nucleus of the element is not like the nucleus of the cell. They're not the same. They're not the same. The nucleus of the cell has DNA. The nucleus of the atom, it has protons. And you know, protons are positive. It has protons and N neutrons, and they are neutral. They have no charge. Protons have positive charge. Neutrons have 0, no charge. Are we clear? Protons are positive charge and they are inside the nucleus. They never get out. Around the nucleus is the electron, who is negatively charged. Electrons, they are negatively charged. Are we clear? Negatively charged. Now, you need to know every number has an atomic number and a mass number. A mass number. Every number has an atomic number and a mass number. What is the mass number? The mass number is the number of protons plus neutrons. Protons plus neutrons. Protons plus neutrons. Now, does everybody have a everybody has a different atomic number. No 2 elements will ever have the same atomic number.
That's the number in the bottom, right?
No. Are you talking about mass number?
Yeah.
We're talking about atomic number.
No, the mass.
Yeah, the mass is different. The mass, no, that's not the mass number. That is the atomic mass unit. We will get to that. That is when you take a whole worth. It's called Avogadro's number. When they take Avogadro's number and they weigh. So for example, you take, let's say we have a periodic table of things, but that is based on a dozen. So a dozen of eggs and you weigh them. A dozen of cars, you weigh them. A dozen of chairs, you weigh them. But here, instead of a dozen is 12. It's too small. Now we have Avogadro's number. It's a huge number. So now, weighing a dozen of eggs is not going to be as the same as weighing a dozen of cars. But it's still a dozen. Here, the number we weighted is the same. But they don't weigh the same. So the number on the bottom is how much weighing or Avogadro of that. Avogadro of this. Avogadro of that. We will get to that later. But now the mass number is not the one on the bottom. The mass number is not written here. The mass number is when you add the proton to the neutron. And we could have shared. You will never have shared atomic number, but you can have shared mass number. This is very important. Two atoms, they can share the same mass number because they have two different atomic numbers and they have two different neutrons. So one atom can have few neutrons, one atoms can have a lot of neutrons. When you add them both, they can end up with, because the neutron number doesn't equal the proton number. The neutron number doesn't equal the proton number. So randomly, when you add them both, you get random numbers. Some of them match, but never will they have the same proton number. That's really important. You also need to understand that atoms bind to each other through electrons. So for example, when we talk about bonds, chemical bonds, when we talk about chemical bonds, there are two types of chemical bonds. The first type of chemical bond is ionic bonding. Ionic bonding. And the second type is covalent. Covalent bonding. You have ionic bonding and covalent bonding. Ionic bonding and covalent bonding. Does anybody have a question? Ionic bonding, covalent bonding. Yes. Yeah. Two atoms can have the same mass number. Why? Because they don't have the same proton number, but the neutron number is different. Like for example, I can have proton number of 10. You have proton number of 9. I have neutron number of 10. So now the mass number is 10 plus 10, 20. You had 9 proton, right? Now you have 11 neutron. So 9 plus 11 is 20. 10 plus 10 is 20. We are two different atomic number, but we have the same mass number because the neutron is never the same inside. Are you clear? Okay. You also need to know that protons are what charge? Positive charge. Protons are positive charge. Neutrons are negative charge. Oh, neutral. Are you guys confusing me? Neutral. And electrons are negatively charged. Electrons are negatively charged. Electrons are negatively charged. Okay, now if you look into the chemical bond, you have ionic bonding and covalent bonding. Ionic bonding and covalent bonding. But in the end of the day, is bonding. So they are bonded. So for example, look at sodium chloride. That's salt. They're bonded. Look now at, for example, carbon dioxide. Or look, for example, at oxygen and hydrogen. Or let's look at oxygen and hydrogen. Well, they're all bonds, aren't they? They're all bonds, right? They are all bonds. But when you look at ionic bonding, when you look at the ionic bonding, you see something very special. You know, bonding is like marriage. When people get married, it's actually just like that. You know, marriage in the West, in Europe, and in America is different than marriage in the East, in Africa and Asia. How is it different? You see, here in the West, when a husband and wife want to get married, they share, right? She put 50,000, the husband put 50,000, the wife put 50,000. Now they both share 100,000. They have a shared bank account. They have a shared mortgage, shared. So it's a bond that is based on sharing. In the East, in Africa, and in Asia, it's not like that. They don't share. the husband give 100,000 to the wife. Is a bond. That's exactly in chemistry like that. Some bonds, like the sodium chloride, in sodium chloride, sodium is the husband. He gave an electron to the wife chloride, so chloride got a minus charge, and electron has a, and the sodium has a positive charge. So you see now the sodium, you guys listening? The sodium, now if you look in your bank account, if you look at your bank account, if your bank account is minus, it means you lose, right? It means you're withdrawn. That's not the same thing as in chemistry. In chemistry, if you have a minus charge, it means you got an extra electron, because electron, they don't deal in dollar. Guys, stop talking. What's going on? No, just listen. Leave that for later. Just listen to the lecture now. Leave that for later. The currency of the atoms is not dollar. If you get a plus 1,000, it means you gain $1,000. Them, they don't get dollar. They get electron. So when they gain something, it means they're minus. So whenever you see an atom with a minus charge, it means that they got an extra electron. So they're rich. But if you see one is positive, they're not like us. When you see one is positive, it doesn't mean it's good. It means that it lost a minus charge. So now it's more positive than it used to be. So now sodium gave an electron to chloride, and chloride now has a minus charge. So now they have a bond. They are bonded. If you lose an electron, you see the positive charge, we call you a cation. Cation. You see the positive charge look like a plus. If you are positively charged, you're a cation. If you are negatively charged, we call you an anion. You see the I looks like a minus charge, an anion. You see the I look like a negative charge, an anion. So they bonded, right? Like the husband gave the wife 100,000 and she's happy. They have a relationship and she's bonded with him and she's grateful to him and she'll remember the 100,000 and they're all together. He'll always giving and she's appreciative, and that's how the relationship there. Some other bonds, they don't, it's not like we or one is giving an electron. They are sharing the electron. Like here. So here, oxygen is married to hydrogen. So oxygen is putting one electron, hydrogen is putting one electron. Oxygen is putting two electrons, carbon is putting two electrons. Oxygen is putting two electrons, carbon is putting two electrons. Clear? Clear? Okay. So like remember, we said that the marriage, the husband put 50,000, the wife put 50,000. So there, in the sodium chloride, one sodium give electron to the chloride, one sodium give electron to the chloride, but here we don't lose it. We're sharing it. So the oxygen say, I am sharing one electron. The hydrogen says, I am sharing one electron. And both of them are sharing two electrons. So nobody gave somebody nothing. Now they're sharing. Is that clear? So when somebody gives something, there is a one losing, one gaining. That's called ionic bonding. But when they are sharing electron, some of them, they share two electron. So one put 100,000, the other puts 100,000. One puts 50,000, that's one electron each. Sometimes 100,000, two electrons each. Yes. Like this, water is like that. Water, H2O. So oxygen is sharing one electron and hydrogen is sharing one electron. Oxygen is sharing one electron with another hydrogen. So that's hydrogen number one, that's hydrogen number two. Two different hydrogens. So, but it's sharing one electron with each one. But it's sharing, is not giving. Is that clear? Now let me ask you another question. Where problems happen? Where always the divorce rate is high? Where is the divorce rate high? In Africa and Asia, where somebody gives somebody the whole money, or is there more divorce when they are sharing 50? Raise your hand if you think the divorce is higher in Africa and Asia, where one give all the money to the other. Raise your hand if you think that's where the problem is at, where they have a fight and they go to court and they divorce. Raise your hand if you think the problems happen here when they're sharing. Absolutely. So that's why if you look ionic bonding, there is only one type of ionic bonding. But if you look at covalent, there is two types of covalent bonding. 1 and 2. There is type 1 and there's type 2. So what the problems are? The problem is whenever you have sharing, look in that periodic table. Oxygen weighs how much? 16. How much does oxygen weigh? 16. How much does hydrogen weigh? 1. So that makes oxygen how many times bigger than hydrogen? 16 times bigger. Imagine some husband who has 16 times as much money in his bank account as the wife. And then they both share and get married. Is it going to be fair? No. That's exactly what happens between oxygen and hydrogen. Oxygen is actually 60. If I want to be fair, I should draw oxygen like that. Oxygen is 16 times bigger. So oxygen is going to bully. It's going to bully the electron, is going to steal it from the hydrogen. So now the electrons are going to polarize. That's why we call it polar covalent. Polar covalent. You never say covalent bonding. You have to specify. Is it fair or unfair? So whenever one is bigger than the other, there's going to be a polarization. Electrons are going to spend more time around the really big one than the small one. Are we clear? If you look now in the nonpolar, what does nonpolar mean? In the nonpolar bonding. In the nonpolar bonding, look now, who's the bond between? Oxygen and who? And carbon. How much does oxygen weigh? 16. How much does carbon weigh? They are almost as equal. So now can oxygen steal the electrons from carbon? No, it cannot, because carbon is as big as oxygen. So the electrons are not gonna polar, it's gonna be non-polar. It's gonna be right in the middle. So we call that non-polar covalent bonding. Are we clear? Non-polar, that is now gonna be known as non-polar, is when they share, but one is bullying the other. Let me give you an example. One is stealing what is being shared. So they are sharing. So think about it this way. Two people, they share a cab. I work the night shift, you work the day shift. 12 hours me, 12 hours you. If we are both as big as each other, I'm bringing my car right on time. Otherwise, that guy is going to beat me up. But if I'm so big, I'm Trump, I'm sharing with somebody, I'm a billionaire, I'm sharing with somebody, very poor person. They're like working a high school teacher. They treat them bad in the school. They treat them bad at home. They treat them bad everywhere. So, and then I go on a deal. I make a business contract with Trump. Okay. So then Trump is going to steal the cab from me. So instead of being 12 hours me, 12 hours you, is going to be Trump is going to be 17 hours and then giving it back to me only for like for 4 and 3 is 7 hours. You understand? So whenever there's sharing, that's the problem. When people share an apartment, when they share something, that's when they fight, because always somebody is gonna start to take more than the way they want. So never be in relationship or in a contract with somebody bigger than you. Be in contract with somebody just like you. So now you see, that's why these women, trying to be with like millionaires, not gonna work. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I wish it did. It doesn't work that way. If he has more money than you, he will get out the case easy. Easy. The judge, his friend, he will pay money to the judge, pay money to the jury, pay money to the lawyer, and you go home cry. Yeah. So yeah, gonna go out with nothing. You're gonna go out even more less. Now he gonna go take what's in the account. Be careful. Go with somebody like you. Find somebody in the Bronx Community College. We went to class together. We left class together. We went to Professor Kadir class together.
Supposed to aspire for better in life.
No, 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 no. Okay, think like that. He will take all your money. Okay, so listen up. So that's the you see, covalent bonding is sharing. Fair, that's non-polar. That's the problem. Students mix that up. When we are fair, when somebody take the car more than me, my car polarized to the bigger bully, because they spend 17 hours with them and only 7 with me. So there's a polarization, unequal. Polar means one pole more than the other pole. But non-polar means we're right in the middle. 12 hours, I come on time. 12 hours, I leave on time. So you really need to, this is really, really important, that we do have 2 types of bonding. There's ionic bonding and there is covalent bonding. In covalent bonding, we have fair, that is non-polar, and we have non-fair, that is polar. Okay, so we're done with this, huh? We're done with electron, we're done with protons, we're done with neutrons, we're done with elements and atoms. Now we move into micro and macromolecules. Let us now move to micro. I'm going to erase this. Okay? All right, micro and macromolecules. All right, guys. So let's now look at macromolecules. Micro, meaning too small. Molecules. Too small. Macromolecules. Micromolecules, macromolecules. Micromolecule is too small, macromolecule is too big. Micromolecules, we also call them monomers. Monomers. Too small. Monomers. And then at the top we have polymers. Polymers. We have monomers and polymers. Monomers and polymers. Okay, if you now look at monomers, polymers, monomers, polymers, monomers, polymers, we have one arrow pointing up. That means we build up. We build up monomers to make polymers. We build up monomers to make polymers. That is build up. We build up monomers. You have little building blocks. You have little building blocks. You build them together to get a big wall. To get a big wall. To get a big wall. You see that little monomers are building up to give a big polymer. Yeah, you see this wall here is made up of this big wall. You see, it's showing you right here. You see, there they are. Little, they come together to give you a big wall. In your body, you have small monomers coming together to give you a polymer. So we have a buildup of monomers to get polymers. And we have, so what are the four micro and macromolecules? Number one, you have amino acids. Amino acids. So amino acids build up to give you proteins, and proteins stack up to give you protein polypeptides. To give you protein polypeptides. Amino acids give you proteins, and proteins give you protein polypeptides. Are we clear? Yeah, they all getting bigger and bigger. It's like a brick giving you a wall, many walls giving you a classroom, classroom giving you a building. So they stack up. But that's the one kind though. That's number one. That's number one. Don't forget, that's number one. Then we have a number two. Number two is monosaccharide. Azúcar. Monosaccharides. Or di. So monosaccharide means one, sugar. Disaccharide give you two sugars together. Disaccharides. Two sugars. Disaccharides. And then disaccharides, they come together to give polysaccharides. Polysaccharides. Monosaccharide, disaccharides, and the polysaccharides. Yep. Exactly. They stack up to give you a lot of polysaccharide, and that is known as carbohydrates. Those are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. Are we clear? Then the third one, you have nucleotides come together to give you nucleic acids. Nucleic acids. Nucleic acids. That's your DNA and RNA, for example. DNA and RNA. They stack up together. And number four, you have two little micromolecules. Those are number one, glycerol. Glycerol is going to bind with something else known as free fatty acid. So they bind together. Glycerol plus free fatty acid. They bind together. Glycerol and the free fatty acids come together to give you lipids, and fats. Lipids and fats. Number three is nucleotides. Number three is nucleotides. Still shining, right? This one is not darker. Still on. Yes. And then glycerol. Glycerol is going to come together with free fatty acids in order to give you when nucleotides give you nucleic acids, what does it turn into? RNA, DNA. Oh, it turns there. Yes. Yeah. It just becomes DNA, RNA. Stops there. And then glycerol free fatty acids give you fat and lipids. Okay, now those are the 4 micromolecules. The 4 micromolecules, now you see we are building up. We are building up. We are building up. So we have buildup of monomers to get polymers, buildup of amino acids to get proteins, buildup of monosaccharides to get disaccharides and polysaccharides, buildup of nucleotides to get nucleic acids, buildup of free fatty acids, glycerol, and fats and lipids. Clear? Question? Yes. Glycerol? No, 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 no. You just write how. No, 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 no. You gotta write the same way I'm doing. You gotta write the same way I'm doing. They go up. We're trying to build up. So don't do horizontal. Do vertical. We go up from amino acids up to proteins, up to protein polypeptides, monosaccharides up to disaccharides, up to polysaccharides, nucleotides up to nucleic acids, glycerol and free fatty acids come together to give you lipids. Okay, so now who is that? You see, that's our micromolecules and macromolecules. So look at that arrow now. That's the arrow of what? Building up. What about demolition? We don't break down these buildings. They're going to be there forever. The highway, does it only have one direction or two directions? Two directions. The subway, it has an uptown and every subway line. It has an uptown trip and a downtown trip. So it doesn't make sense that your body is only able to do build up. What about breakdown? So the arrow goes the opposite direction too. So there is a breakdown of macromolecules coming back to micromolecules, breakdown of proteins to of peptides to proteins, proteins to amino acids. Some of them break down polysaccharides to disaccharides and disaccharides to monosaccharides. Some of them break down nucleic acids to nucleotides, and some of them break down lipids and glycerol into glycerol and free fatty acids. Clear? So the direction is both. So now we're going to get into why are we breaking down and building up? Why are we breaking down and building up? That's the new question we're going to ask. Why are we breaking down and building up? Why are we breaking down and building up? Okay, think about it this way. So first of all, let's define organic molecules versus the opposite inorganic. What's the difference between organic and inorganic molecules? Yes.
Organic shares at least one pair of hydrogen and oxygen, but it has to be, I think, two hydrogen or two oxygen.
Yes.
Substances that contain not only but inorganic are substances that do not contain carbon and hydrogen.
Absolutely right. Organic means you have to have carbon and hydrogen. But not only. You gotta have both. You have to have both. If any molecule has both carbon and hydrogen, if any molecule has both carbon and hydrogen, it is organic. If it has either or, if it has only carbon or hydrogen or any or anything else or any other element, is inorganic. So for example, who can help me? Carbon dioxide. Raise your hand if you think that's organic. Raise your hand if you think that's inorganic. So look at the law. To be organic, you gotta have both. Both. It's here. Carbon and hydrogen. Does carbon dioxide have both? So why do you say it's organic? It's inorganic. It's inorganic. Those who said they know themselves. Inorganic now. Inorganic has carbon or hydrogen. Never both. Never both. Never both. Inorganic, they will never have both. Are we clear? Inorganic will never have both. So now let me ask you a question. Let's say I take an organic molecule. Let's say I take an organic molecule and I add to the organic molecule, I add phosphate, I add zinc, I add sulfur. Are those organic? Sulfur, zinc, iron, they're inorganic. If I take them and I add them to some organic molecule, is it still organic? So yeah, so the new molecule I add, so let's say I have a molecule that is organic molecule and I add to it some inorganic molecule. The whole thing now, is this whole thing now organic or inorganic? Organic. Because the law says to be organic, all I need is one carbon, one hydrogen. So the carbon is still there, the hydrogen is still there. It doesn't matter what I add, still organic. So all you need to do if they ask you, is this organic or inorganic? All you need to do is find out that this, does it have carbon or hydrogen? Are we clear? Alrighty. Now let's go back. All of these guys here, all of these guys, all of these, lipids, amino acids, nucleotides, glycerol, free fatty acids, lipids, all of that are organic. You need to remember that. Every single micro, macromolecule, protein, carbohydrates, lipids, they are all what? They are all organic. So now we have our organic bond, carbon and hydrogen. Is this atomic or is this ionic or covalent? This is an example of covalent. It's not ionic. That's covalent bonding. That is covalent bonding. If you now look at this, I have two carbon and hydrogen bonds like that. That's number one. That's number two. Number one, when I form the bond, when I build the bond, when I build the sharing, when I build the bond, when I form the bond, I store energy. I put energy in the bond. So now there is energy in the bond. So when I build up a bond, I store energy. I put energy in the bond. This is called endergonic. This is called the endergonic reaction. I put energy in the bond. Yeah, so I put energy in the bond. So I put $50,000. My wife puts $50,000. We share a mortgage. So now we put the money together in a endergonic because the endo means in. The energy went in the bond. Endergonic. When I break the bond, we divorce now. When I break the bond, the energy come out. That's called, when the energy goes in, is called endergonic, in. When the energy come out, minus, that's called exergonic, exit. exergonic, exergonic, exergonic. Exited. Now I'm taking my money back from the business. Back before I lost my money in the bank, I put it in the house. Now we divorce. I take my money into my bank. She takes her money into her bank. Anyways, so the reason why we break down and build up energy. So whenever we are going up here from amino acid to protein to peptides, from monosaccharide, disaccharide, polysaccharide, from nucleotide to nucleic acid, from glycerol, free fatty acid up to lipids, I am building, 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 putting energy in the bond. Endergonic, very good. When I'm breaking down, I'm breaking the bond, energy come exergonic. Very good. So think about it this way. We all now leave class and we go to a buffet. And we all you can eat. You eat all of us. We eat all of us. Some of us get full earlier. Some of us they have like 7 intestines. And they eat a lot. And but anyway, we're all full. So when we leave, half of us go home to sleep. And the other half say, let's go to the gym and run on a treadmill. Now think about it. We have stop. We eat, all of us are full. All of us have our digestive system. When you eat, it's gonna break down everything, no matter what. When you digestion is break down, stomach is gonna acid and crush the food. So the food is gonna go to your blood. Your cells will never see pancake. They just see carbs. But when it's broken down in the blood, it depends now on you. If you go to sleep, is your cells gonna take the sugars and store them and building up because you sleep, or are they gonna break them down to get energy? You're gonna store them because you don't need energy. That's why people who eat a lot and they never burn anything, they store. But the people now who went to the gym after they ate, maybe a little bit later to be healthy, after they ate, they went and they ran. So now, in order to run, the car is moving, so it needs gas. So your muscles are moving, they need energy. So they're gonna break the bond to come out the energy so that you can run. So if you see here, we build up when we want to store. We build up when we want to store. So we want to store proteins, we build up. We want to store carbs, we build up. We want to store nucleic acid, we build up. We want to store lipids, we build up. Endergonic. But in anatomy and physiology, in science, we don't say build up. It means build up, but we don't say build up. We have our own language. We call that anabolism. So when you want to say lipid buildup, you say lipid anabolism. Lipid anabolism. You have nucleotide anabolism. So you have anabolism of nucleic acid, anabolism of polysaccharides, anabolism of peptides.
So that's like basically saying
Build up. Yeah. Build up of micromolecules into macromolecules. Very good. Build up. So now the other word, there's got to be another word too, because we don't only build up, anabolism. We break down also. What's the word for breakdown? Catabolism. Very good. Catabolism. So we have catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism and anabolism. Anabolism of lipids build up, catabolism of lipids breakdown. Anabolism of carbohydrates build up, catabolism of carbohydrates breakdown. Anabolism of amino acids build up, catabolism of amino acids breakdown. Anabolism of protein polymers build up, catabolism of protein polymers break it down. Anybody got a question? Anybody has a question? Alrighty. So you know that anabolism is always endergonic. True or false? Very true. Anabolism is always endergonic. Anabolism is always endergonic. Endergonic. Anabolism is always endergonic. Buildup is always endergonic. Buildup is always endergonic. Anabolism is always endergonic. Buildup, anabolism, endergonic. Exergonic is catabolism. Breakdown, exergonic. Exergonic. That's very important. Exergonic, we break down, energy come out. So you need energy, your body can shift on and off. You need energy, exergonic. You need energy, exergonic. Yes. You don't need energy, endergonic. People who eat a lot and they store a lot more than they burn, they're obese. People who break down a lot, they work harder than they eat, they are so malnutrition. But people who are balanced, they burn as much as they store, that is now the healthy rate. Are we clear? So now we finished micromolecules, we finished macromolecules. Now we gonna, one more thing. Anabolism and catabolism, both of them combine to give you something known as excellent metabolism. 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 Are we clear?
And when people don't have a fast metabolism, they're more endocrine.
When people don't have a fast metabolism, no, metabolism means both. It doesn't, they don't have a fast catabolism. So if they don't have a fast metabolism, that means they are slow in both, slow in storing and slow in breakdown, because metabolism means both.
Right.
So they store slowly, break down slowly.
And when you
Fast metabolism, they store fast and they break down fast. So metabolism means both. Metabolism is one of the signs of life. If you can do metabolism, it means you are alive. If you can do metabolism, it means you are dead. So scientists come together. They want to find out the meaning of life. For us, I go to the mosque, I pray. Life over there means the soul. God puts soul in you. You go to the church, you pray, it means also the soul. God puts soul in you. You go to the synagogue, you go to the temple. All of us, we believe that God put the soul in your body, you are alive. But in science, they don't believe in soul. There is no soul because you can't measure soul. Soul, everything has to be scientific. Everything has to be in science. I can measure the soul. I can measure blood pressure. I can measure metabolism. I can measure catabolism of protein. I can measure anabolism of protein. I can measure the carbohydrate metabolism. Carbohydrate. Yeah, it's not, you cannot test it. And just because something you cannot test it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. For example, people, they say, oh, I have depression, I have anxiety. So that people say because there's a lot of nicotine, you smoke, there's a lot of alcohol. That's scientific. I can test your body and see if there is a lot of metabolites, acetaldehyde, alcohol metabolites. I can look and I can see, is there a lot of cholesterol, you're eating bad food, that cause anxiety, that cause depression. But if somebody say you are depressed because God is not happy with you, because you're up to no good, you're doing bad, you're sinning. I can measure that, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's not true. That's the problem. Students think because you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. That's not true. It still can be true. I just can't measure it. Because that person, they have anxiety and depression because they have a demon in them. That is not scientific, but it doesn't mean it's not true. Yeah, you're up to no good. You are pregnant. You're killing the baby. And then you have the depression and the anxiety. You're killing the baby. But do, I can't, that's not scientific. I can't find out. But it may be true, right? You rob somebody, then God, He give you depression. I believe that, but that's not scientific. Okay. Hmm? The guilty conscience, yeah. Some people have no conscience, but God is still make them. The God is still make them mad. They rob somebody, they sleep. The person come, why you rob me? Ah, they become scared. It happened. They do that. Don't do bad things. You do bad things will come to you. But that's not scientific. So scientific is metabolism. That's a sign of life. If you are alive, you do metabolism. You are alive, you do thermoregulation.
You can check for a chemical imbalance for depression.
Yeah, yeah. So the people that have the depression, the anxiety, okay, is because now the people they are doing the people they are doing like the things like up to doing people now doing problems. People now spending money to make problem from their own pocket, make problem between people. They do that.
Yeah, like big.
Yeah, create problems. Spending. Some people problem for them is like food and drink. If they don't make problem, they die. They have to make problems. They have to eat problems and drink problems. Okay. Yeah, but that's not science. That's not science. We don't talk about that in class. We talk about that in the living room at home, but we don't talk about that in class. Okay. So now I hope this IT open. So let me see that they always some problem always. So let me see. Okay, so please be patient. Let me call these people, and let me see if.
I'm not meant to know happiness as a student. I can deal with anything, but not being able to talk. And then like you're supposed to rest your voice. That I'm never gonna be able to do that. I know. It's the worst. Oh no, yeah, not even worse sickness, but for me as a person to not be able to talk is and as you can see I'm still talking.
Please press 1 for faculty and that is not a valid selection.
You should definitely
Please. For students, please press 1 for faculty. Your position in queue is 1.
Okay.
Please hold for the next available agent. We are transferring your call now.
Okay. So until they answer. Okay. So we have covered electron, proton. Hello.
Good morning, Technology Service Center.
Good morning. This is Professor Kadir. I can't log into the workstation in the classroom. I put my email. It says this reference account is locked.
Give me 1 second, Professor.
No problem. Thank you.
Can you provide me your employee ID, please?
I'm sorry, I don't know my employee ID. I give you my first and last name.
Yeah, give me your first name.
Okay, my first name Rod, R as in Romeo, A as in apple, A as in apple, D as in dog.
Mm-hmm.
The last name is Kadir, K as in kilo, H as in hotel, I as in island, D as in dog, I as in island, R as in Romeo.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Can you try now? I don't like it.
Okay, let me please. I put in my password, everything. Everybody take a 10-minute break, 15-minute break, come back later. Come back in 15 minutes, please, until I set up. Thank you so much. Come back at 10:40. 10:40. No, that's in lab only. I don't have. Yeah, but you have to be in the lab, and then we will find out. So you have to be in the lab. I don't have. Go to lab technician. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in. Thank you so much. I hope tomorrow also I can log in
You're welcome.
like that, or I need
Yeah,
to call
yeah, yeah, no
also.
problem.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You
Thank
have it? Bye-bye.
you. Okay, bye bye.
For the homework, we can't make up the homework, right?
What do you mean?
Like if it's locked, it's locked.
Yeah, if it's locked, it's locked. But I'm gonna make one more extension for every. I'm gonna discuss this in class.
Yeah,
I'm
because
gonna.
I totally forgot about the McGraw.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell everybody now. I'm gonna extend everything. People coming late. I'm gonna deal with that all now.
All right, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
So I'm not like,
One of my friends is doing it. He's I think communication class.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. Please head over to chapter 1. Okay, are we all doing chapter 1?
Refresh your long division and you like change fractions and stuff. Refresh that already.
Okay, so let's start. Before I begin, I want to say a couple of very important points. So at this point, all students that they had a scheduling problem, some students that didn't know where the classroom is, including me. Today I went over to the fourth floor and including me. So now there's no more excuse. Now you know where the class is. Now you know all the McGraw-Hill Connect assignments. I'm gonna extend them as a one last final course courtesy for everybody who forgot, didn't know, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to extend everything. The in-class assignment, the out-of-class work, the lab packets, the McGraw-Hill Connect, and everything. I'm going to extend it. So your job now is to look at the deadline to ensure that you keep up with all the deadlines and you follow with that. Your prompt arrival. So from now on, it's not going to be people coming early and people walking in late. You will have the attendance taken at exactly 5 minutes after the class starts. If I start the roll call, which is part of your attendance grade, you walk in late, you will be marked late. If you step into this classroom half an hour after the start time of the class, you will get 0 credit for that day. Is that clear? Everybody, please make sure that you look into your schedule. You know what time we begin, and then you do all the assignments and you follow with every single assignment on the deadline. Never again will be an extension. All right? Clear?
how far you extending?
Okay, you will see on the deadline. When I post it for you,
Oh,
you will
doctor,
check.
I want to ask you because we're here in class.
Okay.
I see this assignments that like the dates are wrong for last
Okay,
year.
don't worry. Those we haven't gotten into those yet.
Also,
Just worry about the ones that we have for chapter 1 that I post for you. Yeah, 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 we are going into that. I will post an announcement for you. When is your first exam? Study your homework and let's now do the lecture. We will deal with any other questions in the end. We will deal with any questions in the end. I need to go over the lecture. If you have any other questions, we will do that later. Okay. No, we're not. Okay. So let us now go over chapter 1. We went over all of the concepts. So now when we go over the slides, now everything is going to make sense. So now everybody follow me on the PowerPoints. Sometimes I'm going to need to stop to make an illustration, so you add that to your in-class. You're going to add that to your in-class assignment. Okay, let's begin. Okay. Okay, so we begin with the major themes and concepts of anatomy and physiology. If you look at the name of the book, it's the unity of form and function. We discussed that there is anatomy and physiology are united. They're not separate. So it should say the unity of structure and function, the unity of anatomy and physiology. They're all connected together, they're interdependent. Anatomy means the study of the structure. We went over that. The knife is sharp, the hammer is dull. Physiology is the study of the function. You will see that the hammer is able to hammer things down because it's dull, and the knife is cutting things because it's sharp. So you will see the same concept in your body. The nerve cell, the muscle cell, the epithelial tissue cell, they don't look the same because they don't have the same job. So they will have a different anatomy, they will have a different physiology, even though they all have the same what? All cells have the same. We went over that in the first lab and lecture. All of them, so all the knives and hammers have the same steel metal, made of steel, but they have different structure. We're all people, all of us are people, but some of us are doctors, teachers, police officers, chef, even though we're all human. All of the cells are different histologically under the microscope, but they have the same DNA. They have the same DNA. Alrighty, gross anatomy, we discussed that. Gross anatomy is the study of structures that can be seen with the naked eye. Gross anatomy, study of structures. One second. Okay, gross anatomy, we discussed that. Who can remind us what gross anatomy is? Excellent. Perfect. Full answer. Very good. If this goes off, please let me know. Structures that can be seen with the naked eye. Histopathology. Patho means disease. Ology, the study of. So histopathology means studying the disease formation, the mechanism of disease formation where? In the tissue, because histo is tissue. Cytology, we went over that. Cytology means that we study the structure and the function of the cell. Cyto is cell. Very good. So now we talk about the microscope. Remember, the microscope showed us that right below what? So the microscope started to give us the science that happens right below what? Right below the tissue. Excellent. The light microscope, the first oldest primitive microscope, the light microscope and the compound microscope. They showed us a level that happens below which level? Below the organ. Because naked eye, gross anatomy begins organ and above. Right below the organ, then you have the tissue histology. Then you have the electron microscope that is going to enable you to see the cytology. Okay, very good. And what is that? Yeah, so I want only the light in the front to be. Is that possible? Okay, leave it. Okay. So the first microscope was very primitive where we have lenses. So there is a lens that you put your eyes on. What do we call that lens? The lens, not the whole thing is a microscope. The microscope has two lenses. One you put your eye on. What do you call that lens? Ocular lens. That's the ocular. We wrote that yesterday in the lab. So you can't come in lab, you write things down. You can't go to lecture, write things down, upload them, and forget about them. Because they're gonna keep happening again. You're gonna do bad, you're gonna fail the exam if you don't review the notes that I wrote for you. I don't just write them for you, you can write them and then you leave them in your short memory. Short memory is irreliable and faulty. You will forget. So you need to repeat so that you can transfer from short-term memory to long-term memory. So you need to repeat it. So we now study the ocular lens you put your eyes on, and that's always fixed at what magnification? How many x's? 10x. Excellent. That means it magnified 10 times bigger. You will see things 10 times bigger. Then on the bottom, there is the lenses that you are spinning to focus on the stage. What do we call those lenses? They're not ocular. They're called objective. Objective lenses. Those are the ones you focus on the object. Wow, nobody's reviewing the notes. So Robert Hooke discovered the first concept. Yes.
You're speaking of the written notes or the bio lab book?
All the notes.
We didn't write that yesterday. I write everything.
The ocular, and the objective lens. Okay, so let's do that. That's very strange.
I didn't write it. It's on there.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. This is our microscope. You put your eye here. Shh, what's going on? You put your eye on the ocular lens. You put your eye on the ocular lens. And then when you focus it on the ocular lens, there are multiple lenses that we focus. You have 40x, 100x, 10x. Then you have a stage on which you put the slide. So that's the ocular lens. At the top you put your eye on, and these lenses down here are known as objective lenses. Sometimes you need to use 10x, sometimes you need to use 100x. So we multiply. Usually the ocular lens is 10x. The ocular lens is 10x. The objective lens is 40, 100, and 10x. If I want the total magnification, the total magnification is, I didn't talk about this in lab.
If you did, I would have wrote it 100%.
One second. Yeah, because I remember I asked the question, he answered it. I asked what's the total magnification. I didn't write it, but I talked about it because we used the microscopes yesterday. So let's go over it again. We have an ocular lens you put your eye on, and you have the objective lens that you spin to focus on a stage. So we have the ocular lens is always 10x, and the objective lens is sometimes the first one is 40, the second one is 100, the third one is 10x, sometimes it's 40x. And then if we want the total magnification, we multiply the ocular lens magnification, we multiply the ocular multiplied by the objective. The ocular multiplied by the objective. So the total magnification is ocular magnification, the one on the top, multiplied by the objective magnification on the bottom. So if we fix, so that's the question I asked in lab and he answered. I said if you have a slide that you use the ocular lens 10x and you use the 40x, the total magnification is how much? I have an X here, multiply. You multiply them. You multiply the ocular magnification and the objective magnification. So 10 times 40, that comes to 400. So the total magnification is 400. So Hooke told us that we're going to use the ocular lens and the objective lens to get an even bigger magnification. You saw something 2 times or 3 times as big. Then Andrew Van Leeuwenhoek came in and he was able to develop a more sophisticated microscope. He developed from the very primitive Robert Hooke microscope, but he had the concept of the lenses. Then Anthony Van Leeuwenhoek came in, and he was able to design a more sophisticated microscope. Now we come into the cell theory. The cell theory means that they discovered all living things are made of cells. So this is non-living according to science. This is non-living because it's not made up of cells. It doesn't have a plasma membrane. It doesn't have a nucleus. It doesn't have a cytoplasm. So it is not alive. So for you to be called alive, you have to be made up of cells. Very good. Number 2, you also have to understand that all of the actions in your body, the metabolism, the anabolism, the catabolism, is a collection of the actions of the cells. So you're able to walk because your bone cells, your muscle cells are working together. Your nerve is telling your muscle cells to contract, flex, extend, to enable you to walk. Anything you can do. You think because your nerve cells. You see because of the nerve cells that are on the retina. They are sending the nerve impulses to the occipital lobe of your brain. Your heart is pumping the blood because of the heart cells are contracting. So all of the living actions are based on the actions of the cells. Very good. So the scientific method teaches us how we're able to gain the information, how we're able to design an experiment. So for example, we look at the inductive versus deductive. Okay, just remember, you're not only writing the things I write, you have to write also things I say, because I cannot write every single word. Yeah. Sometimes I talk, it's impossible for me to write every single thing. So sometimes I say things, also write those. Okay, so you remember them. Students now, because they have to get, you have to write what I write on, they think that's all they need to know. No, you write and you submit that, and then you also write what I say. Okay, inductive versus deductive method. What is the difference between inductive and deductive method? Inductive, we have inductive versus deductive method. Deductive means you deduce a concept based on a big fact. You have a big fact, you have a pre-established premise, you have a big fact, and you deduce based from it. So for example, I have a big fact, I have a big premise that all mammals breastfeed their babies, milk. All mammals, they do that. All mammals breastfeed their babies. All mammals are able to, all mammals. If this goes off, if there's no green here, then I'm just going to be, you cannot hear what I'm saying. because so you remind me so that I can remove it and then it catches my voice. So the deductive reasoning is based on you having a big fact, you deduce from it. So for example, I tell you all mammals breastfeed the babies. All mammals, they have hair. Then I tell you the whale is a mammal. Then you say, oh, that means it has hair. Because not do the reptiles have hair? Cockroaches have hair? They don't have hair. Plants have hair? They don't have hair. Mammals have hair. So if I tell you the whale is a mammal, did I tell you it has hair? I did not. You deduced. So you deduced from a big fact, pre-established premise, you deduced the concept. I tell you also, yes. Oh, okay, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna turn on the light. So actually, why is not the light on? The light should be on. Is that better? Okay. Usually the black color is better. The black. Which color is better to see with? Blue and the black. Okay. Alrighty. Deductive reasoning is when you deduce a concept. Is not deduct. It's not take away. That's deduct. If I deduct, you take away. Deduce is no. Reduce is deduct. I deduct $10 from the balance because tip. Yeah, they play that game now. Deduce is to conclude. Yeah, deduce is conclude. Okay? So, here I said all mammals have milk. You reasoned, oh, all mammals breastfeed their baby. And I tell you the whale is a mammal. You make 1 + 1 is 2. But for example, let's say you are in a clinic. I come to you, you take my blood pressure. You measure my blood pressure. You see my blood pressure is high. How did you know my blood pressure was high? Did you deduce? Did you have a big fat or did you measure it? You measured it. So inductive reasoning relies on diagnostic, measurement, diagnostic, you have measurement, and you're measuring, you're diagnosing, and you're using a device. You're investigating. So now you reason, oh, his blood pressure is high. He must have been running to the clinic to be on time for the appointment. Otherwise, you wait until I move and then you will see it. Wait until I move. Don't stop me when I'm lecturing. Yeah, wait. I'm explaining. I'm not going to sit here forever. So I'm going to move and then you're going to be able to write it. It's recorded. You will see it. So I'm deducing a concept. Okay. Yeah, but you are stopping me and I'm lecturing you, asking me to come here, look at your paper. Be patient. Okay, just be patient. Be patient.
I'm being nice.
Okay. So, yeah, but you have to act like an adult too. Okay, so be patient and let's leave it there. Okay, so when you're investigating using a device, if you're measuring something, you're listening to the heartbeat, you're putting your stethoscope over the heart, you're measuring the blood pressure, and you're looking at the breathing rate. Nobody told you a big fact. Here, what happened? You were able to investigate, like you had something on your hand to conclude. So for example, if I tell you if the blood pressure is high, the breathing rate is high. Well, that's scientific. This is not like, oh, when the demon is on your body or when it's not, that's not true. So I say all patients who have high blood pressure have high breathing rate. Well, I can test that. So when you have a blood pressure attack, I come and then I measure your breathing rate, it's high. So is that deductive reasoning or is that inductive reasoning? Yeah, that's inductive reasoning. So we have inductive reasoning is when you actually go in and do things. So now students say, is it better to be, is inductive reasoning better? Is deductive reasoning better? There's no better or worse. is which one is more adequate, which one is more appropriate, which one is more adequate, which one is more appropriate. Clear? Questions? Questions? You really need to know this. That's very important. So if you see, we have inductive method. That's the process of making numerous observations. So you observe. So now this is very important. All right, everybody wrote this down. Okay, so now let's look at how we arrive at conclusions. We have observation. You have observation, and the observation leads to a hypothesis. And the observation was made by a sense. So you sense something. So, for example, what's a sense? What's a sense? Some students don't know what a sense is. A sense is very good. Seeing, that's the sense. Vision is a sense. You heard. You walking on the street, you heard somebody screaming for help, you call the police for them. You heard somebody say there is a fire, you call a fire truck. If you didn't hear something, are you going to have an observation? If you never heard, if you never saw with your eye that the apartment is on fire, are you going to make what's an observation? An observation is something based on your sense. So if there was no fire, yeah, you didn't see it, you're not going to have an observation. You're not going to act on it. So, for example, somebody who is unfortunately blind, they don't see a fire. Are they going to call the cops? They hear the fire. They hear the fire. Actually, fire has.
Not to hear it. They can't see, so
they rely on other senses. Yeah, yeah. So we have always based on senses. So that's why sensitive people, they are really have good observation. You see, very smart people have really good senses. And when you work on the senses, you become sensitive. You are able to detect fine details. When how to make your senses better is when you read. So when you read, you pick up details. When you read the next time, it's like a detective. So detectives have to be very sensitive to notice things, to smell things, to look at things, because you're going to make an observation that's going to lead you to catch the criminal doing the evil things, the things that are bad. So now the same thing, science. You have to have a keen eye for detail, but that means your senses have to be good. If you cannot see well, then you need glasses, because if you don't have the glasses and you so stubborn, you don't want to wear the glass, then you drive the car, you kill somebody, then you're gonna be saying, listen, you're supposed to wear that's called criminal negligence. You're supposed to wear glasses. You didn't want to wear the glasses, so now somebody else paid the price because you don't want to wear the glasses. So because your senses aren't good, you don't observe somebody, then you don't make the right judgment. So we have a sense that leads to observation, that leads to hypothesis. The hypothesis is going to lead to experimental design. So you make the hypothesis, and then you wanna investigate it. So for example, people who have high blood pressure will have a high breathing rate. Is that hard to look for? No. You come to my office, you have a high blood pressure, I measure with the sphygmomanometer or with the device that's on the wall, your blood pressure is high, then I measure your breathing rate. Then I measure your heart rate, and I listen to your heartbeats with the stethoscope. It proves it, that everything is according to what I'm able to measure. But let's say somebody say your blood pressure always high because the demon, the devil go inside you. Well, I can measure the devil, so that's not scientific. Does that mean it's not true? No, it could be true, but I cannot measure it. I cannot measure it, so it's not scientific. But just because it's not scientific, it doesn't mean it's not true. Maybe your blood pressure goes high, God is mad at you, you did something. It's true, but it's not scientific. I can't measure it. But I didn't measure that. I didn't have a hypothesis. A hypothesis is always if then. If then. If then. So I say, if your blood pressure is high, then your heart rate is also high, then your breathing rate is always high. Everything is gonna go high because, well, I can measure the three. I can measure blood pressure, I can measure heart rate, I can measure breathing rate. Clear? Any question? Alrighty. So we the breathing rate is normal. So sometimes you're right. Sometimes I see a bulldog. I'm running for my life. My blood pressure is high. I'm trying to bring in a lot of air to my muscles, my bone, so I can run fast. But if now I have a pathological high blood pressure, meaning something wrong with my valve in my heart, meaning something wrong in my kidney, too much sugar, diabetes depositing on the nerve, depositing on the blood vessel. Now my blood pressure is going to be high, but my breathing rate is not high because it's not due to like some trigger. It's due to a disease. You're right. So sometimes we have physiological hypertension. Sometimes we have the disease because of some other disease was there. Because you have high blood cholesterol, there's so much cholesterol in your blood vessels, blood is not passing through. Blood is not passing through, blood pressure is high. You have high blood pressure because you have anxiety. So now you see something that frightens you, you're worried about something, or maybe you have high blood pressure because you have depression. So it depends on what caused the high blood pressure. It happens. But for now, we need to know your sense. You know, Isaac Newton, he saw the apple fall from a tree. When the apple fell from a tree, he saw it. If he didn't see it, will he have a hypothesis? If the apple fell down, then there was gravity that pulled it. So he had a hypothesis. He had a sense. Then he made an observation. Then he got a hypothesis. Then you make an experiment in the lab. Then in the experiment, you make an investigation. And based on the investigation, you're able to you run your experiment. Then you make your result. You have experimental design. Then the experimental design, you have result. You have result. And after the result, you have a discussion. You discuss your results, and after the discussion, you have peer expert. You have expert peer review, and after the expert review, peer review, you publish. People now don't go to expert. They go on Facebook. They go on asking people that don't know nothing. People telling them about life. People go to the people reading your palm and telling you stuff. Those are not expert. So you always have to go to the expert. So if I have a study, a research study, then I'm going to go to if I have a research study, then I have to do it and go to my nearby lab, professor, scientist, and both of us, we discuss, we share with expert. We don't share with somebody that's got nothing to do with the science. So, okay, is that clear? All right. Do I need to leave the light? Turn off the light? Turn off the light. Okay. Back to the slide. So when we leave the slide, we turn on the light. We back to the slide. We turn off the lights. Okay. So now everybody understand inductive, inductive, inductive. We got it. Hypothetical, deductive, deductive method. Deductive is when we talked about that. Who could remind me what is deductive? So good. So now you gave me one word. Deductive, deduce. So I want a full, complete sentence. Somebody that come here. Yes, please. Yeah. So very good. So she said, when you deduce, you said when you conclude. So that's a one word. So I want a full sentence, long. You tell me everything. Now it makes sense to me. Yes, please.
You conclude your observation from a big pre-established premise.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds good. Right? So you have all mammals have hair. All mammals have hair. And then I tell you the whale is somebody else in the street tells you The whale is a mammal. Oh, in class they said mammals have hair. Mammals breastfeed milk. In the bodega, they say the whale is. You walk in the bodega, you see the newspaper, and the newspaper now says whales are mammals. You say, oh, so that means they have milk. So that's why people go to school, to give you so much knowledge. So when you go out to the real world, you go back to pre-established premise. You go back to fact. But if your mind is not full of fact, your mind doesn't have education. It doesn't have pre-established premise to go back to. You did nothing up there. You just go back to refer and it's empty. Now that's bad. If it's empty, there's no pre-established premise. You hear anything, you don't remember anything. But when you go to school, you learn. You turn on the radio, you hear something, you remember. You go back to. You're a little kid tells you something, you go back to something you tell. But if your mind is empty, your mind is full of Nicki Minaj, and it's not gonna help you. That's not gonna help you. And now she's voting for Trump. I can't. All that bad I thought that the pyramid she went down, it doesn't get bad no more. Now she liked Trump, so she made an even lower one. So it's very bad.
Like
Yeah, and she's at the bottom, and I thought there's no, and then she went to Trump. I hope next year what she gonna do now, she gonna go even, and then she go hell, the hell over there. Okay, very bad. Okay, alrighty. Okay, sample size. Sample. So when you do experimental design, you have to have a sample. The more people, the better. The more people you have, the better. And when you do, I have a pill. I don't know. I wanted this pill to measure for me the blood pressure. I want to treat it. So it's anti-hypertension. Hyper, high, high. Anti-hypertension. Increase blood pressure, too high. Then I have to also, when I look at hypertension, I want anti-hypertension. So I give pill. So now let's say 100 people, all of us went to the buffet. Now all of us, we have high blood pressure. So now we cut the class in half. You give pill to everybody. You give the real pill to one half, and you give a fake pill called placebo. Placebo. Placebo means it's a fake pill. Placebo. 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 Placebo is when you get fake pill, but it's not. So you can reference. You see the effects of people who took the medication and people who did not take the medication. How are they both? Are they similar? Are they different? Okay. So yeah. So we want to see the effect. See how much blood pressure went down. All of us, our blood pressure too high. So now we want to see the effect. So they realized there was a problem. The scientists going around, hey, you getting the medication or you getting the fake pill? So now people find out. They know which medication I'm getting. So now is affect the result. So now they say is double blind. You don't tell the people. I'm sorry, single blind. Single blind is you don't know, are you part of the group that has the medication or are you part of the group that's placebo? Yes, the light is off. Ah, Sheree. Oh no, it's good. Lamin, what's going on, Lamin? Oh, Lamin, he wants to end the lecture. Oh, no, that's it. We're gonna end. That no. No, 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 no. He's up to something, Oh, Lamin. Okay, so he made an observation that the light went off, so that the microphone is not working. Okay, so if we now look into what is single blind? Single blind, it means that the person doesn't know. Double blind, they realize now the experimenter going around, you don't know, but he's going around. Is your blood pressure going down? Because you the one who took the real pill. So now he telling what's on the. So now it's double blind. You don't know. I don't know either. My other colleagues know. When the experiment finished, then I find out who was who. So that's double. Everybody knows single blind, double blind, single blind, double blind. Okay. Okay. Double blind. Single blind is when the subject doesn't know what are they getting, placebo or real. If you get the fake one, the placebo, you're control. If you get the real one, you're actually on the experiment. If you are the one, the scientist, you don't even know which half is getting the real, which half is getting the placebo. That's double blind because there's both of us are blind. You don't know the medication, I don't know. But the other scientists, my friends in the same experiment, we don't. We are divided now. Are we clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, very good. Okay, no problem. Anybody has another question? Peer review. Look at the critical word here. Expert, 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 expert. Okay, facts we deduce from facts theories. Now, evolution is when we adapt over. A key word for evolution is thousands of years. Students think that evolution happened. They go to the gym. Professor, look, I went to the gym for 30 days. My bicep got bigger. That's not evolution. Evolution gotta take thousands and thousands of years. So now there is selection pressure. Okay, so now people don't understand evolution. Students think that evolution means that we came from monkeys. They think that you look in the photo album. Who is this? Mommy, who is this? That's your dad. Mommy, who is that? That's your granddad. Mommy, who is that? That's your great granddad. Mom, who's that monkey? It doesn't work that way. It's not like the monkey is part of your family. He's not. The monkey is not part of your family. It means that we share a common ancestor with them. It means that we resemble them. But you see, we are different. That shows the differences. We used to be arboreal. Arboreal means that we climb on a tree. Why we climb on a tree? Because the lion is down there. So you do things that make you survive. Always in life, yeah.
That word means tree in Spanish.
Really?
Kind of like
Arbo. Oh wow. Wow. That's nice. Arbo. You know many.
That's what you were saying. Sometimes you can like, by the context of the word, you know kind of what it means.
That's true. You know many Spanish words are from Arabic. I speak Arabic. I am Muslim. As pantalon, dinar, dinero, it means money. Sala. What is sala?
Kodal,
What is sala?
living room.
Sala. Yeah, that's true.
Kodal,
Living room is sala in Spanish. I didn't even know that. I do Duolingo, but I'm not good, and I'm trying to get better.
like Kodal.
I just know yo bebo agua. That's all I know.
What's that mean?
The what?
Kodal. The rear end of the spine of the rear end.
The
Kodal. C-A-U-D-A.
coda.
Kodal.
I don't know it. Coda. Yeah, I know no coda equina. I know the coda. CAUDA. Coda. Very good. You have flashcards.
Yeah, I know them. All of these.
Coda. You took it before.
No, cola in Spanish is tail. So that's why I know when I see
Cola. Mm.
that. And
Yeah, you're right. It's a coda equina. We will get to that. Yeah, coda. Oh, caudal the tail. Yeah, caudal. Right.
cola in Spanish is tail.
Cola.
Cola.
Like Coca-Cola.
C-O-L-A.
Oh. I know in Spanish, camisa, that literally means shirt in my language. Dinar, dinero. Guadalajara was taken from a word called Wad al Hijara, which means the valley of the rocks. Also, the dinar is money. And you know why? Because Muslims live in Spain for 800 years. 800! 800 years. How old is America? 200. We were there for 800 years. They don't teach that in school. 800! 4 times the age of America. That's why we have a lot of, if you go to Spain, you see a lot of Muslim stuff. There's many Spanish names that are Islamic. That's good. Anyways, so now we go to okay, so we are arboreal. We live on a tree because we want to survive. Now, there's also the prehensile grip. You're able to hold the pen. The monkey can never hold the pen like you. The raccoon can hold a pen.
Not a pen, but they have thumbs.
Yeah, they have thumbs. But you see this prehensile grip. So you're able to use the tips. Why? Why we do that? Because the rock. You take a rock. If 100 lions running towards you, what do you got to do? Don't run. They're faster than you. So what are you gonna do? Take a rock, and when you throw it, the 100 they will run for their lives because they don't know what that is. Nobody in the jungle, if they're running a deer, the deer is not gonna throw anything at them. Nobody runs it. You're the only one who can, because you have a prehensile grip and you can hold the rock so hard and you throw it at them. It hurt them. They bleed. They run for their lives. Nobody can do. That's called the prehensile grip. Holding a toothpick, not a toothpick. A what's that called? The one for the Chinese food.
Oh,
Chopstick. A toothpick. Chopstick. Chopstick.
How about the like chameleon?
Chameleon. The chameleon. The chameleons. The chameleons. You know these guys. They come to the beach with a chameleon
oh yeah, like they have
on there in the back. They think when they give it to the girl, she will love them. Poor guys. That's not how it works. But I have not seen I haven't seen it. He didn't want to give it to me. This was a long time ago. I was like, can I see it? No, it's only for girls.
what girl on what planet?
In the beaches. But anyways, I don't go now. I am all grown up. I don't do that. I was young and stupid. But you waste time in the beach. Now my beach is to read a book in the library, to study. You have to do that. If you don't have a degree, you will never have a respected job, a stable job. You will be poor. Okay, if you have a degree, you will never be poor. You'll always be working. There's overtime. There's pension. But if you don't have a degree, you're not gonna. My friends back when I was in college, they go to the club. I never go to the club in my life. They go with the girl. They go dating. They go in the line for Jordan, $300. I never do that. I'm always in my dorm studying. Now we graduate. They can't even live in America. They went back home. I'm still here. So you have to study and you have to make a degree so you can survive. Otherwise, you can't survive here. The same thing is called survival of the fittest. The most fit you are, and you work with your mind. You don't work with your muscle. Now you're young, you go work in the warehouse. In 30 years, you can walk. Now you want a job, they say no. Somebody younger than you, they can do the better job, and yeah, go. And then you are broke, and then you go to crime to survive, and you end up in jail. That's what Trump wants you. Trump wants you in jail so you can do work for 5 cents a day. Yeah, he wants you there. Lamine, don't go there. Don't go there. Be careful. Oops. Alrighty. So, yeah, she think when she votes for Trump, he will lie. He will leave her alone. No, he will not leave you alone. He will take Nicki Minaj to jail. You will see. Oh, oh. He gave her the gold card. Now, wait tomorrow. Don't worry about today. Worry about tomorrow. Many people they got the gold card before. Now they're in jail. Yeah, don't worry about him. Oh, now people they just want to be with winners, but they are not winners. You always be with God. Don't be with the bad people. But they will learn. It's okay. They will learn the lesson. Bipedalism, being able to walk in 2 feet. You need to know that the Homo sapien, that's us. You know the iPhone? iPhone always update, iPhone 17. The Homo sapien is like the iPhones. We are the Homo sapien. The Homo genus, they died. That's like the iPhone 10. And the Homo erectus, that's iPhone 13. They died. We are the latest. That's the Homo sapiens. Now, this is the hierarchy of life. So we talked about that. You have the atom. Many atoms come together to give you what? Molecules. Molecules come together to give you. Okay, this is very important. This is the light. Okay, yes.
I was gonna add on to that. Like that's kind of related. Well, obviously, to make it like when you're pregnant, right? Atom transfer the uterus and the molecule.
Can you say it again? I didn't get it.
Like when you're pregnant,
Oh,
right?
the circle of life.
The circle of life. It starts off as an atom in the uterus, and it goes.
Okay,
Is that the
but
same
in the
time?
uterus, it doesn't start as an atom.
Right. Okay.
It starts as a cell
Oh yeah.
called the zygote. So the sperm is a cell. The egg is a cell. They come together. The sperm is a haploid, half of a cell. The egg is a haploid, half of a cell. Two half cells come give you one full cell, the zygote. Then you have embryo,
So the
and
atom is way before that.
the atom is little, even smaller than a molecule. The atom, remember the triangle? You need many atoms to make a micromolecule, many micromolecule to make a macromolecule, many macromolecule to make a organelle, many organelle now just to make a cell, many cells to make a tissue, many tissue to make an organ.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the way in the bottom. So you really need to know this. This is very important. If you look here, you see that we have a molecule. Oops, we're doing the slides. Lights off. Okay. So the body's structural hierarchy. We begin with an atom. Multiple atoms come together to give us a molecule. And molecules are like micromolecules come together to give us, everybody, macromolecules. Macromolecules assemble together to give us organelles, different organelles. We don't have just, they only have a photo of the mitochondria here, but that's not the only organelle. There is mitochondria, lysosome, endoplasmic reticulum, and Golgi body. We will talk about all of those. And then you have the cell, the tissue, the organ system, and the organism. Okay? Are we clear? Okay, any questions? Alrighty. So we got to the body structural hierarchy. We will pick up here. I will make an announcement for you when is your first exam? In 2 weeks. Mark your calendar. Not this Thursday, not next Thursday. Next Thursday, we will finish this and chapter 2. And then after that is going to be the exam. I'm going to go over the details exactly of what you need to study. Any other questions? Because I need to turn off turn off the recording. Okay? All righty. So let us, before we leave, so we're beginning strong. It's gonna get more intense. So I'm sorry, guys. So I like all of you. I really wanna treat all of you with respect. I really don't like somebody disrespect me, and I don't want to disrespect nobody. So I'm very sorry if anybody felt offended in any way. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but if we come in here, just give me a chance to finish what I say. Let me always finish. Don't raise your hand while I'm talking. Let me finish my statement. Then register what I'm trying to tell you. When I'm speaking to you, register everything I'm saying. When I stop, raise your hand. You have a question, I'll be happy to help you. Okay? But don't interrupt. So I'm not going to interrupt you, and you don't interrupt me. There is a lot of learning that we have to get done, a lot of knowledge, and I think it will all be worth it in the end. You guys are going to learn a lot. You're going to do really well when you move on to the upper division. And I wish you guys all the best. And I respect every one of you. Male, female, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, anything. All of you, I really respect you, and I respect all of you. And we're going to do well. Okay? Yeah, no, no, no.